Hey everyone, welcome to the New Populist. If you are new to the channel, please like and subscribe. Well, I'm going to talk about my least favorite subject, and that is the subject of abortion. It's very polarizing, and depending on what you say, you're going to piss off half the people out there. And I think my personal position will piss off everyone. Let me explain. First, I do think Roe v. Wade should be overturned. Legally, the decision made little sense. The legal rationale, it just isn't there. And even people on the left acknowledge this. So the issue, I think, should be returned to the states for the states to decide individually. And that's sort of where I piss off people who are pro-life, who say, well, if it's a state issue, it will still be legal in some states, and you're supporting murder. And people who are pro-choice will say, well, you're having these women in red states lose their rights to have an abortion, and you're anti-women. So having that position sort of pisses off everyone, because I personally don't believe that the federal government should be involved at the national level by passing federal legislation. So we have both sides right now saying they want to pass legislation at the federal level to either ban abortion completely or to make it legal in all 50 states. Now, what should the GOP do? Because I want us to think about this strategically. And the one thing the Republicans always seem to do is when they're ahead, they find a way to lose. Now, when this draft memo was leaked, or rather why it was leaked, is probably because right now Democrats have zero to run on. The economy is going down. We have a negative GDP, rampant inflation, a war in Ukraine that's becoming less and less popular as the days go on. Biden is a bumbling idiot. What do they run on? They don't have much. And my thinking is that somebody, or more likely a group of people, decided that let's leak this memo and try to change the focus of the American people from all the crappy things going on right now in the economy, and let's focus on this issue of abortion. And we can make the 2022 midterms about abortion. And that is my thought. So how should Republicans respond to this? I think very simply, we should say, we haven't seen a decision yet. This is a draft memo. We have no clue where this is heading. Of course, we don't support abortion, but until we get an actual ruling from the Supreme Court, this is all speculation. Don't offer any more, because we have Mitch McConnell, one of my least favorite people, saying that there is the potential for a federal ban on abortion. Now, will we ever have a federal ban on abortion? Probably not, and talking about it just galvanized the left. Now, let's say for some reason we actually did have a federal ban on abortion. What would it look like? First of all, we don't have the votes in the Senate either way, on the Republican side or the Democrat side, to pass federal legislation on abortion, unless one side nukes the filibuster. And right now, the Democrats who want to pass some legislation can't get past that filibuster because of Manchin and Sinema. So that's not happening. Will Republicans nuke the filibuster? Probably not. Mitch McConnell has spoken at length about the need for the filibuster. So either side talking about passing federal legislation, it's probably not going to happen. And then, of course, let's say, for example, Republicans actually pass this legislation, which they can't because they don't have the votes. What would happen? Well, as soon as Democrats came back into power in the White House, first of all, they would immediately try to remove it. And even if they couldn't, if they had a Democrat attorney general, they would simply say that enforcing this federal abortion law is not a department priority, much like immigration, much like drugs. So even if there was a federal law, if there was a Democrat administration, they would not enforce the law. But let's say there is a Republican administration with this law. What would happen? Well, the Democrat states like California and Maryland, New York, Illinois, they would declare themselves a sanctuary abortion state, just like they do for immigration again, right? And what would the Republican administration do in response to enforce this law? Send in stormtroopers to close down abortion facilities? What would that look like? Can you imagine the press there when you have probably thousands of women gathering around these, abortion clinics and having the feds line up to clear them out to close down these abortion clinics? So what is your mechanism to actually enforce this at the federal level? The mechanism that exists, the Republicans would never use because it will be absolute chaos if they're using force against women who are trying to fight for their rights to have abortion. So being realistic, we are never going to get rid of abortion in this country. I know some people don't want to hear that. They want to have a complete ban on abortion or have it curtailed so it's very, very minimal. That is not likely to happen. I think the best we can do is limit it, especially in red states. If we overturn Roe v. Wade, we can severely limit abortion in those states, have some guardrails. I think, honestly, that is the best we can do. And what would the Republican administration do in response to enforce this law? Send in stormtroopers to close down abortion facilities? What would that look like? Can you imagine the press there when you have probably thousands of women gathering around these, abortion clinics and having the feds line up to clear them out to close down these abortion clinics? So what is your mechanism to actually enforce this at the federal level? The mechanism that exists, the Republicans would never use because it will be absolute chaos if they're using force against women who are trying to fight for their rights to have abortion. So being realistic, we are never going to get rid of abortion in this country. I know some people don't want to hear that. They want to have a complete ban on abortion or have it curtailed so it's very, very minimal. That is not likely to happen. I think the best we can do is limit it, especially in red states. If we overturn Roe v. Wade, we can severely limit abortion in those states, have some guardrails. I think, honestly, that is the best we can do. And the other thing, too, is this issue is so contentious, and I hate wasting, I don't want to say wasting time on it, but when you look at what's going on right now with the economy and Russia, personally, abortion is not one of the issues that I'm, energized to go to vote for. I vote on the economy. I vote on foreign policy, on immigration, on trade. If we don't have a functioning country because we're in the middle of World War III or our economy has completely collapsed, you're not going to have time to worry about abortion when you can't feed your family, or if there's a mushroom cloud over your city. So abortion has its importance, but for me personally, it's lower on my list of things I worry about, especially again because it is unlikely that we ever could actually outlaw abortion in this country. It will always be available and legal in some way here, and because of that, I like to focus elsewhere. So the GOP strategy going forward, I hope they don't make this election in 2022 about the abortion issue. I hope they're clever enough to try to steer around it and focus on the things that people are really worried about right now, which is the inflation, the gas prices, and the economy. We focus on that. We make this midterm about those issues, and we should have a massive red wave. And please, GOP, do not snatch, defeat out of the jaws of victory, because that's one thing Republicans are great at doing, and I hope they don't mess this up and do it this time around, especially when we're in this position right now to finally sort of seize control of this country back from the radical left who are imploding right now. So We'll see what happens. I hope our leaders are smart enough to play this the right way, but who knows? We'll see. That's it for now. Again, if you are new to the channel, please like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.